Hey, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jeff. I'm a customer engagement coordinator at InventoryLab, and I'm here with Grace Holt, business analyst. So, in case you weren't aware,
Hello.
but you should be, we're going to be talking about LTL shipping options with InventoryLab. So, let me share my screen here. But before we get started, we're also going to be looking for feedback on LTL. And in the near future, we'll be sending you an email, and we'll also have some in-app notifications. And so we'd really appreciate you giving us your opinions when you get that survey. So look for that in the next few weeks. But what we're going to do here first is I'm just going to start out just kind of going over the SPD options, or small parcel delivery. So you have the three options. You have box contents off, you have your 2D option, and then also box contents via feeds. And that's the preferred option. So I'm just going to start there. So you can see we have the item here. I'm just going to submit it, and we're going to sync. Now this is getting to the point of your shipment creation. What I want to get to is entering box contents and getting to the reason everybody's here. So what we're going to do is just assign everything to the box. Okay, now when I transmit boxes, you should be completing the shipment in Stratify, and that's what this option is here for. And this will avoid any of the issues that have happened in the past. So I'm going to close that out, but you'll want to complete the shipment. And then when you do that, you'll have a couple of options here. You'll have partnered carrier, just like you do in Seller Central, and then non-partnered carrier. If you pick non-partnered carrier, of course, you're going to pick your carrier, and you're going to have to input your own tracking IDs. We're just kind of talking about partnered carrier right now. So you're going to input your weight and dimensions. Let's say we're at 25 pounds. Now, as you do this, you'll note here that I can't really do anything, and that's because I sent the box contents to Amazon, and so the feeds are still processing. But you can see now I've got the success message. I'm ready to go. We have this here so that you can resend those feeds from this page in case it's been quite a while, but it doesn't take that long as long as we're not in Q4, obviously. I think you're all aware of that. So next is to estimate charges. And it takes you back to the list and prep page. And what you're going to see is this is an address that doesn't validate in Amazon. And so that's what happens when you get this particular message. So you're going to have to pick another address that actually does work. So let's just pick, try this one. Oh, I don't think that one's going to work. That's another test one. This may work. Let's retry the estimate. And you can see I'm still in trouble, but I do know one that will work. This one. Well, it's live, so you can see what happens. So what happens here is what you need to do, let's go back to your batch. I'm going to cancel this out, and I'm going to transmit boxes again. And then we're going to wait to get the feed processing button to clear because it's still accepting it. And once I see the green box here, then I should be able to get that estimate on that address. But in the meantime, we say that box contents with feeds is the preferred method We're also going to show you box contents off. If you use box contents off, that will cause you to incur a manual processing fee. So just be aware of that, because you're telling Amazon, and we'll show you a warning about that, that you want them to actually process the box. And so it's a per item fee. We also have 2D barcodes. Some people prefer that method. And with 2D barcodes, we'll also show you that in SPD. And just be aware that shipping for SPD can be canceled within 24 hours. So you have a 24 hours to cancel this shipping charge. So we got that. Why is that not? Unless there's something wrong with the feeds, I know that's a valid address, which can happen. And then you have the option to complete in Seller Central if that doesn't work. So we're just going to cancel out of that. And we're just going to switch to 2D barcodes. So this process, you're probably familiar with this. And now we're going to enter box contents. I'm going to do a quick entry there, assign to box. And now if I had a printer set up, this is what you'd get. I can print my labels right here. You may or may not be able to see that, but I can set it up for the paper that I'm using and the printer. And so it opens in a new tab. And we have a little warning here. Should contain 40 or fewer ASINs when using 2D barcodes per box. So you want to check that to make sure you've acknowledged that. Partner carrier, going to do the same weight. And then again, we're going to estimate charges. See if it goes through this time. Yep. I think there might be something. And let me just check one thing here. Yeah, that's all right. I checked a different location. So why don't we move to LTL, and we'll see if we have better luck with that, since it's not working for SPD right now. Let me switch over and we'll have Grace show her screen. There we go.
All right. I sure hope it does work properly. It was working just a couple hours ago to go through.
These are
So,
different shipments. It's not 3 hours ago and it worked. So, well, that's what happens when it's live.
you know, exactly. That's when Amazon has issues. All right. So, I've already got my boxes together here, so I'm clicking to transmit boxes to bring up that shipment uh, workflow. I've already selected LTL partnered carrier, but I think Jeff already mentioned when you come to this screen, it will automatically use the shipping method that you used the last time, or if you haven't been here, it will default to small parcel. For LTL, we need to include some information about a contact who is responsible for the shipment. This is the person who Amazon may reach out to, or UPS, if there's an issue or if they need to communicate. We're going to put in a shipment date of a week from now. It's an estimate. And we're going to say Chuck Norris is our contact. Put in an email for him. All right. Now, at the bottom here, we have our declared shipment value. This is already set for us based on totaling the list prices for the items in this shipment. So I've already got a head start, but if I wanted to, if I think that it's worth more or less, I can either click these arrows or I can just type completely over it if I wanted to. That's still in my control. I've already got my feed processed, but I did want to point out that you can click next on this step while the feed is processing. We don't want to slow you down. When I come to this screen, I'll see all these boxes on the left, which are the boxes that I created in box contents, and my pallets on the right. I've already got a pallet set up or available there. I can update all of my box dimensions at the top row here. So for instance, if I know that all of them are 25 pounds, 12 by 14 by 12, let's say, then that'll set it for all of the boxes. I don't have to type it out for each one. If, however, some of my boxes are different sizes or weights from the others, then I can select just those boxes by clicking on the first box that I want. And then I can either hold down Control or Command in order to select individually, or I can also come down to the last box that I want, hold down Shift while I click, and that'll select all of them. At the top here, instead of saying set all box dimensions, now it says selected to let you know that it's only going to update these ones if you type up here. So these boxes are only 20 pounds. And now it updated just for these while my other boxes are still at 25. I can add these boxes to a pallet, but I want to point out that adding boxes to the pallet in this visualization really is a visual thing. It is not required, but if I do add these, then it will total the weight of the boxes for me so that, again, I don't have to either count them and do math because they're not always going to be something even like 20 pounds. It'll
Yeah,
just do that for me.
that's a great feature right there.
Within the palette, I can also update my boxes if I realize that one or two of them are different or I entered the wrong values for them. I need to enter my height, and Amazon restricts heights to 72 inches for non-stackable pallets or 50 inches if they are stackable. So this pallet is 60 inches, but I've got another pallet that is stackable. I know that it's 400 pounds, so I'll just enter that in. And it's 48 inches high. So all of those little warning messages have disappeared, so I know that now I can estimate my charges and move forward. All right, good. So I've got my carrier information at the
Well,
top
I'm
here.
glad it worked for you.
Me too. Me too. Um, it lets us know how many boxes are in this shipment, how many stackable and non-stackable pallets each, the total weight of the shipment, the date that I've set for my estimate on getting that picked up, the freight class, which is provided to us by Amazon based on the information we've delivered to them, the value that I declared for this item or for this shipment, and beneath that, the thing I'm interested in, my shipping costs. So they're right here. If I decline charges, all that does is take me back one step. It doesn't take me out of anything. So I can go back to it, click next again, and all of the exact same information will come up. So now I'll click accept charges. And I want to point out that while small parcel delivery allows for 24 hours before you can't void your charges, with LTL, that's only 1 hour. So your window to void your shipping charges is much, much shorter for LTL, just 1 hour.
Yeah, just 60 minutes. That's all you have, folks.
Yes. So I'm really sure, so I'm going to go ahead and accept the charge. That little flashing you just saw there was the labels downloading to my downloads right here. And since I've resolved all of the shipments for this batch, it has closed the batch for me. But I want to go back to list. Click, there we go. All right, so down here, because I made this shipment a little bit early, you can see I've got my webinar LTL feeds shipment right here, and it's green, it's ready for carrier, it's all good. Amazon got my information, and I accepted my charges successfully. I can also tell that this is an LTL shipment because it identifies it right here. I can open up this menu to export box contents as usual, mark it ready to ship. But then I have some additional things too, because this is an LTL shipment. I can also request my bill of lading, or BOL. This won't be available right now though, because it's available the morning of my pickup date. So the morning that UPS is actually coming and taking the items is when my bill of lading will be available. I can also print my labels or packing list. And importantly, since this is a demo, I can void my shipping label. I don't want those charges really.
Yeah, that's nice.
And you can, yeah, you can see it also does a countdown here for us. All right. So that is LTL with feeds and a partnered carrier. I want to point out too that the shipment that I just voided is no longer green. That went away. And if I click on the menu, I don't have those additional options for the BOL. It's gone because this is no longer a working shipment. All right, so let's move forward to 2D barcode for LTL. So again, I've got my boxes here, and I'm going to print 2D barcodes, which will immediately generate the barcodes for me. Coming back, we have that same workflow available right here. And we also have this message letting us know that boxes should contain 40 or fewer ASINs when we use 2D barcodes. So that is a limitation with 2D barcodes. And one of the reasons that using feeds is typically the best option. Coming down to my shipping method, I'm going to take LTL partnered carrier again. And I need to fill out effectively the same information. This is me effectively doing the same thing. So we've got our contact information and their email. Phone number. You can include a fax, but that's not required. The other information is required. And just like with the other shipment, it has totaled my declared shipment value for me at the bottom. But I still need to, I was trying to figure out what was missing for my next button. I need to actually acknowledge that I understand about the 40 ASINs per box. We really wanted to be sure that you really wanted to go with 2D there. Okay, so just like with the other shipment, coming to the top will let me update all of the information for all of my boxes. I can update my palette manually myself if I want to. Or I can also add items to it in order to populate its weight to begin with. So selecting all of these and adding them to the second palette totals them there for me at the top, 250. We'll estimate our charges again. We see our information for our carrier, our pallets and what kind they are, stackable or non-stackable, how many boxes, the weight, our pickup date, freight class, and here's our declared value. Underneath that, we've got our shipping costs. We'll go ahead and accept charges. Acknowledge that we've got only 1 hour if we need to void them. And we'll get our 2D barcodes here. It closes the batch since, again, that was the last shipment for that batch. And if I go to list and prep, which takes a moment mostly because of my Wi-Fi. I just want to point that out. All right. We can see here again that it is a green shipment. Green means good, ready, and I was looking at his shipment. This is my shipment down here. And we can see that this is the LTL one because it's marked there. So that's how I knew that was his shipment really quickly. Same as for the feeds option. I have the BOL here that I can request, labels and packing list, and then my void shipping label here. All right, there we go. Sometimes that can take a moment. Okay, so that was 2D barcodes. Lastly, I do want to show LTL with box contents off, which is probably our least recommended option because of those manual fees you incur. So I'll come over to complete shipment in Stratify. I don't have any boxes since I turned box content off. And we want you to acknowledge the manual processing fees at the top here so that you don't accidentally choose this option. Next, I'll switch to the LTL partnered carrier, put in that same information. And just as a note, when I'm putting in this contact info, it will carry over to Seller Central and my contact list in there. So it will create a contact with this information. Okay, at the bottom, again, we've got our declared shipment value, which is totaled from our list prices. We'll click Next. And since we had box contents off, InventoryLab doesn't know how many boxes we have. So we're going to just start us off with 1, but we can add additional boxes. And instead of having to click it over and over, you can just enter that number in right here. So if I still have 20 boxes for this shipment as well, I'll put in 19 and it'll populate all of those boxes there. These are all 25 pounds, 4 by 10 by 12. And I can enter in my information over here manually or by adding them like before. But once I've got all of my dimensions filled out for my boxes and my pallet, I can estimate my charges. I don't have to move any boxes over. And I'm just stressing that because I want to make sure people understand, I guess. So here I've got the same information in front of me as for my other shipments. So UPS and the number of boxes, pallets, weight. And at the bottom here, I've got my shipping costs. I can accept the charges. And that flickering is just because it's downloading the labels. That's browser behavior. Okay, so we're back in closed batches since that was the last shipment for that. And we can come over to list and prep. And here we can see our green shipment again. And once more, it has those options for requesting your BOL or printing your labels. And you can void the label as well. So I'm going to void this label. And then I'll show you a non-partnered. Non-partnered is very straightforward. All right. So again, we see that it is a voided shipment. It's no longer green, and we don't have those options anymore. What we do have options for are to work on our shipment. So if I realized that, oh, shoot, that was my non-partner carrier shipment, then all I needed to do was void that label like I just did, click work on shipment, and relaunch it to click non-partner carrier right here. At the top, it's going to ask us what carrier we are working with, and our options are right here. This is going with FedEx. And I'll enter in my pro number, which is the progressively rotating order number.
And you only have that pro number for non-partner carrier? Is that right?
That's right. You only have the pro number. It's the equivalent of the tracking number for non-partner carrier with small parcel delivery. And again, I have to check this box since this is box contents off. So now I'll click submit all. And there we go. Again, we have a green shipment. And we can mark it ready to ship or print labels. We can't void labels since we didn't accept any charges, of course.
So that Carlos had a question: can you ship without an Amazon partnered carrier? And yes, you can. Um, the non-partnered carrier option on that shipping modal, it lists the. Yeah, if Grace could just demonstrate, you just select a carrier from the drop down, right? Which options
That's
do you
right.
have when you're there?
We've got UPS, DHL, FedEx, USPS, or other, which are the accepted options over the API.
Gotcha. So you probably can't see that drop down, but they're there when you click on that field, Carlos, and so then you can select one or
I
select
zoomed in a
another.
little.
Yeah, there we go. It's just when you click, the drop downs don't show. Um, but yeah, I hope that answers
Oh,
that
that's
for you,
too bad.
Carlos. Yeah. Any other
Okay,
questions?
so
Feel free to put those in. We'll get to those. I just wanted to highlight that one because it was right what we were talking about. So,
all right, I think that's everything I was going to show there.
so
Back to
big
you, Jeff.
takeaways. Shipping has to be canceled within an hour.
Yep,
And then someone made a comment about the easy input of the weight and dimensions, which is nice. But and also another high point is that contact information is added in Seller Central. When you add it here, it's also added in Seller Central for you.
right, it carries over.
Yeah, so that's nice. Let's go. I just want to show the address worked when I was messing with it. I just switched pages and came back, and Amazon decided to work. But um, so when I go to SPD, I just want to show it's transmit the boxes. Of course, you're going to get this warning. That'll clear. Partnered carrier, going to estimate the charges. And it should pop up with a window because it just did. And there we go. So again, you can accept or decline those. If you decline them, you just go back to this window. It works very similarly to LTL. And then when the shipment is paid for, you have the similar options. Print your labels, packing list, but you can also void the shipping label right there. And again, same timer. So SPT works the same as LTL. So we'll go ahead and confirm that, get that voided. Then we'll move on with a couple more points as far as SPD and LTL, some additions that are going to be happening. Again, you can work on the shipment again, that sort of thing. But we are going to make some changes coming up, isn't that right, Grace? About options to print your labels. So what we've run
That's right.
into is that the shipments, when they disappear, there's no way to print those labels. So like when they're already picked up and they disappear from your working shipments window, you won't be able to, or you haven't been able to print those. You've had to reach out to support for that. But let me remove this. We'll pop this over in top of our faces. And then you can see that this is what's going to be displayed on the inbound shipping page. And that page is under your accounting and inbound shipping. Let me just show you real quick. So it's right here. Let me just remove. Wish I could put that in a different spot. I guess I'll just take that off. There we go. So do you want to explain the options that are going to be displayed? It's probably going to be a little different with LTL, or is it? It's going to look just like this?
It'll look just like that. So right now, today, if you're using a non-partner carrier, then your destination is clickable and it'll show you your tracking information, whether that's small parcel or LTL, it'll show you a tracking number or your pro number. And once this is out and available for partnered carrier, you can come here to get all of your labels. So if you click that icon, that print icon, or the destination code itself, then it will download all of the labels for that shipment.
That's going to be a nice feature. And that's after it's cleared from your working shipments window on its way to Amazon. If you need to get those again, or you've cleared it, something happened where you need copies. Trying to think of why you need to print copies again. It's escaping me right now, but we've had request and support. So this is really going to be a nice feature, self-service basically. So that'll be nice.
Right.
So we also have some changes coming to the UI, right? To simplify it, to make it easier. You noticed before when Grace was doing the LTL stuff, there was drop downs and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to show what the UI is going to be changing to here. And now you can see that it's just basically some radio buttons you'll just select. Everything else will work the same, right?
That's right. So basically, we just made it easier to see all of the options so that they're visible at a glance.
Yeah. So if I were to select non-partnered carrier in this modal, then of course it would change a little bit to give me those options, like you mentioned, like the pro number, that sort of thing.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So this will help avoid some confusion that has happened in the past on this page. So it should simplify things, and so that will change from what it currently is, and probably in the next week or so. So that'll help the process. But basically, it's a very simple process. I think it just benefits you to continue and complete everything right through InventoryLab. You see, there's some benefits in there with the ease of use, that sort of thing. And it's also going to avoid any issues that have been caused by converting in to Seller Central too soon in the process. That's usually where the issues have popped up in the past. So by staying within InventoryLab all the way to the end, purchasing your shipping, same discount that you get in Seller Central, I need to point out. And then going there to finish up things, it makes that process a lot easier.
Right.
So there were some concerns that we had a couple of questions in the past, but one was, can I modify the quantity of boxes after I've already sent my box contents and weight and dimensions and have estimated shipping? And the answer we got is you can't change the quantity at that point. So if that happens, you'd have to resort to sending the feeds and using the send to Amazon from the closed batch file. So we'll post a link, actually this link here, that should show you exactly how to upload those shipping plans. Hopefully you won't have to use it. Just make sure that you're correct in all of your boxes. You
Right.
don't have to make any adjustments before you go to estimate your shipping. So you want to make sure that's all done. It just simplifies things. And when another question we had, Grace, was once a shipment's assigned a pickup date, can that be modified like it can in Seller Central? And you
There's not
explained
a
that.
place in
Yeah, go ahead.
InventoryLab. It's between you and your character or your
Yeah,
carrier.
yeah. And your character, I don't know, maybe. So anything else you want to say about LTL before we see if we have any questions?
No, but I'd love to hear any questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions about this process or the SPD, we can certainly answer those. The key takeaways are: make sure you complete the process in Seller Central. You want to avoid box contents off to avoid those manual processing fees. Using feeds is the preferred method, but we do have options in case, there's been times where Amazon's not, the feeds weren't going through. That's why we have the 2D option. That's one reason. So you have that on both SPD and on LTL. Let's see. Pop that up. There's been a problem
Oh,
with auto
yes,
downloads.
absolutely. Sorry,
Yeah.
I read his comment, so I started answering.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah, take it
yes,
away.
that will be part of the new update for the inbound shipping. For LTL shipments, your pallet labels will download along with all of the other ones that you need for the shipment.
So that's going to be on that inbound shipping page that we showed, right? Where you
Right.
can reprint those. Yeah. So Garland, that'll take care of that for you. You can just go to the inbound shipping page under accounting and find that shipment, and then you'll have your options right there. Okay. And Yen, you also asked earlier about a recording of the conference. There'll be a link, or the webinar. There will be a link emailed to you. And so you'll have a link to replay that as often as you like. So you'll be able to watch that. But it seems InventoryLab only provides thermal format shipping and box labels. Will you provide format for normal printers like Seller Central does? And I think you're referring to the 30 up labels. We're looking into that. I know that is a suggestion, but for now, you can still go through the whole process. But in Seller Central, when you're on that shipment, you can still print your 30 up labels there. I know it'd be a lot easier while you're in the process through InventoryLab, but we're looking into that. It is one of our suggestions we have that's active, so stay tuned for that. Any other questions? I also want to point out we're having a batch basics course in our customer coaching, and that's coming up tomorrow, but it'll be repeating over the next few weeks. And so if you'd like to register for that, just go to inventorylab.link/batch basics, and you'll be able to register. And those are live classes, so it's not a recording. You have to actually attend to go through that. And the coach is going to go through, basics of creating a batch listing all the way through the shipping process for, SPD and LTL. And then if you just want a full list of all of our customer coaching classes, go to inventorylab.link/IL coaching. And that'll give you just one page with all of those you can register for, all from that same page. So I don't
How
see any
handy.
other. Yeah, it makes it handy, right? And I don't see any other comments or questions. So you have anything you want to add, Grace, before we give everybody back their evening?
There's nothing that I can think of, but I do want to reiterate that we are very interested in feedback on LTL in
Yeah.
particular, and that we will be reaching out.
Yep. So watch for that email and also an in-app message. But yeah, that's it for the webinar, and feel free to reach out to support if you have any questions. And again, the detailed instructions on this, on completing your shipments in SPD or LTL, inventorylab.link/complete shipments. And you'll have all the instructions right there. But that'll be it. Thanks for joining me, Grace. Appreciate the info and the demo. I'm glad yours
Yeah,
worked
thanks for having me.
smoothly, unlike mine. But things happen, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night, everybody.